Good evening. It is Thursday, September 24th, 8:06 p.m. You're probably wondering what happened to me, if I may have died or whatever. I'm still here. I mentioned before that I went back to my old job, and fortunately, they put me back in a position where I open very early and have all the afternoon to myself, and I have the weekends off. So, after a month of just having time to do nothing, I now have the opportunity to get back and do this once again. So let's get back into it. There's a whole month to catch up on, really. I still kept up with it, like with Dr. Lee Magnon's paper coming out, basically putting more science into what we were already saying for months. Studies showing that China made faulty KN95 masks that we've been all using. The virus could apparently go through face shields. It's just becoming very hard to protect yourself from what we're finding out as more and more truth comes out towards the reality of this situation. So I haven't been here in a while. Let's see what's it looking like now. Uh, Spam. Went too far back. Anyways, so we are approaching 1 million deaths. This is actually a strange timing. 987,000. Yeah, we are definitely way beyond 1 million deaths. Way beyond 1 million deaths. 32 million cases, also far beyond that. Recovered doesn't mean anything. We've already talked about that. The daily cases hasn't really changed much. It just continues to grow. The deaths went down a bit, and now it's going back up again. All right, that's getting annoying. All right, let's see. So we'll look at today's numbers. I thought it was set at 7. It was set at 6. It's been a while since I've done this. So, whoa, 314 new cases. So it just continues to escalate. USA, well, number one in new cases today is India, 85. I know I see them go almost at 100,000 for the day. USA 45,000, Brazil 32,000, France is now 16,000. So France is blowing up. Argentina is not blowing up. Spain is getting hit hard in their second wave. I mean, Europe is right now in a disastrous second wave, and Spain's one of those that's just getting hit hard. They could not stop it. Israel also moving up as one of the hardest hit areas in the world. UK hitting it hard, second wave. Russia is lying tremendously. They're way higher. They're doing way worse than that. We have, of course, South America like Colombia, Peru, Mexico, just being devastated by the virus. It's not stopping. We have Indonesia, Iraq, Iran climbing up. Ukraine. It's a shame because of a certain somebody that I know who's in Ukraine, allegedly. And South Africa is still getting cases. This is very interesting to see because I haven't really been keeping up with it till now. In terms of deaths, number one is India with 1,144, USA 942, Brazil 818. Man, people are still dropping like flies in Brazil. Mexico 601. And from there, deaths dropped significantly in the other areas. Let me see what the what happened to. Well, I'll look at it. I'll look at that tomorrow. So now we can go to USA. See how they've been. Yeah, I heard today that USA is increasing in cases. It's spiking again. Yeah, the whole world is being hit with second and third waves right now. It's really just getting on hand. The protests are kind of overshadowing the news, but I mean, it's the media. The media controls the narrative, and the media is controlled by those who are in power. They tell you what matters right now, what doesn't matter right now. But we know that this virus still matters right now. Number one is Texas with 4,000, California third 3,000, Florida second 2,000, Wisconsin fourth 2,000. Also, in terms of deaths, number one is Florida 172, Texas 138, California 89, Georgia 49. Excuse me. Let's see. So, veterans. Whoa, almost 60,000 veterans. The prisons, that should be way higher. Should be way higher. So, the situation continues to escalate. It's gonna be a rough winter. It's gonna be a rough winter coming up. So what's going on lately? 924 News. Parents knowingly send kids with SARS-2 to school. Wisconsin officials say a handful of irresponsible parents could be responsible for closing down entire school districts, public health director said. Never in a million years did we imagine or think to account for parents deliberately sending their sick or symptomatic child to school. More than 24 schools in the country are under investigation where at least one student or staff member has tested positive. Out of the 15 school districts, 11 are currently under investigation. There has been at least one positive or suspected case in all school districts. Now, if you follow this channel for a while, you would know that the school situation is going to get apocalyptic, and it's essentially what's happened. And nobody really caught on to it. That South Africa was the example. South Africa was devastated by the virus in the schools. Hundreds of teachers, thousands of students, and nobody paid attention. And now it's happening all over the world. Israel on Thursday moved to further tighten its second countrywide lockdown as SARS-2 cases continue to soar, ordering all non-essential businesses to close. And requiring people to stay within 1,000 yards of their homes. Comparing the situation to a war, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the measures would save lives. Wake up, enough is enough. We are in a new reality, he said. The limits on both prayers and protests could spark a backlash. Miles Gould said that Israel was a target of this virus. And coincidentally enough, they seem to appear to be a target of this virus. The latest SARS-2 update we have, thanks to data from Johns Hopkins University, shows that new SARS-2 infections are increasing again in almost half of the U.S. According to Mickelson, while the 17% increase in daily new cases over the past week, 7-day average, is getting a lot of attention, this can be explained completely by more testing, as the number of daily new tests is up 23% over the past week, 7-day average. Testing was always terrible. Globally, there is not a single country that tested adequately. Not a single country. and then that's just one part of the problem. The second part of the problem is honesty and manipulation of data. Dr. Anthony Fauci have been warning repeatedly that the U.S. is not getting its number of daily new infections down far enough to be best prepared for the fall and winter. That's because we're expected to be hit with the double whammy of flu season mixed with the continued presence of SARS-2, both of which involve respiratory illnesses with similar symptoms. Yeah, the last video I think I made, or one of them before this, was the twindemic, because seasonal influenza is going to mix with SARS-2. And if you remember, Wuhan got hit hard in the winter. So what's going to happen once we get to the winter? So that's a big question that we're going to see unfold in the following next months. It's going to be a crucial next 4 or 5 months. Very crucial. More, the French government has imposed new restrictions in major cities after France reported a new record surge in daily cases. President Emmanuel Macron announced a series of measures to curb the spread, including the closure of all bars and restaurants once again in Marseille, and shorter opening hours for Paris and other cities. Public gatherings in a few cities have been limited to 10 people, and sports events or concerts can only host up to 1,000 people. The measures have been met with opposition from several business owners and local politicians. Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo said it is hard to understand how will it prevent the spread of the virus. How will the fact that we no longer exercise help us? How sport is an important part of keeping us healthy with strong immune systems. Austria. They have announced new measures ahead of the start of the ski season, including a 10 p.m. curfew in the tourist states of Tyrol, Vorarlberg, and Salzburg. Kurz pointed out that skiing, shopping, dining, wellness, and culture events would still be available despite the pandemic. However, visitors would not be able to take part in the popular après-ski parties, which involve dancing, drinking, and socializing once skiing is done. Britain. They recorded a record number of daily infections with 6,634 new cases on Thursday, today. A second wave of infections has gripped the country, but officials said the level of testing is much higher than the first wave. So Europe, for about a month now, is getting hit hard with a second wave, and it is getting worse and worse and worse. And the media is talking about it, but people are just not paying attention. Brazil. A Brazilian football club, Flamengo, is trying to postpone a league game after 16 players tested positive for SARS-2. The club was previously pushing for an early reopening. Flamengo's Vice President for Legal Affairs, Rodrigo Dunchi, said he hoped the Brazilian Football Confederation will agree to postpone Sunday's Brazilian Championship game against Palmeiras. In June, Flamengo had joined President Jair Bolsonaro in reopening local football leagues. Yeah, Brazil is just... well, you already know. Additional, blood-based test accurately identifies viral infection before symptoms develop. A team of Duke health scientists have identified biomarkers that accurately identify numerous viral infections across the clinical stages of disease, advancing a potential new way to guide treatment, quarantine decisions, and other clinical and public health interventions in setting of endemic and pandemic infectious diseases. The blood-based test uses a gene expression assay to correctly predict 9 different respiratory viral infections, including influenza, enterovirus, adenovirus, and coronaviruses known to cause common colds. It shows the body's genes responding to a pathogen before symptoms are present. Canada concerned about second wave of SARS-2 as cases spike. Yeah, everywhere you read right now, it's second wave here, second wave there, second wave here. Not really. They've always been getting hit hard. It's just that the testing hasn't been able to catch up till now, and even then, just barely. And it's easy to do when you cover up the deaths as well. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau warns Canada is at crossroads. In our 4 biggest provinces, the second wave isn't just starting, it's already underway. That's what I'm talking about, Trudeau said. The numbers are clear. Canada's numbers show a recent rapid growth in coronavirus cases after a summer of consistently low numbers. As is the case in many countries, the virus is spreading amongst young people. We're on the brink of a fall that could be much worse in the spring, Trudeau said. I know this isn't the news that any of us wanted to hear, and we can't change today's numbers, or... yeah, you can, yeah. And they have, or even tomorrow's. Those were already decided by what we did or didn't do 2 weeks ago. The 2 week theme is back. It's all too likely we won't be gathering for Thanksgiving, Trudeau said, but we still have a shot at Christmas. Good luck with that. In case they're going to give Santa Claus SARS-2. Even more, member of Health Secretary Security Detail tests positive for SARS-2. It is the first known instance of a staffer with regular proximity to the Health Secretary testing positive for SARS-2. Azar, who is typically flanked by a security detail in his role as a member of President Donald Trump's cabinet, had to undergo testing for SARS-2 as a result of the security agent's positive diagnosis. They can't even trust their agents now. One person said, HHS has taken over steps to prevent the spread of the virus, such as additional cleaning in the headquarters. There may be a more infectious SARS-2 strain in Houston, Texas. Now, every time that I hear there's a more infectious strain, they always follow up with, it's not as deadly. So, I have to look into that more to really understand. I mean, I don't know. I'm not the one that's, looking at the genome or all that. A new preprint study from Houston suggests a more infectious strain may exist there. Governor Gary Herbert announced that Utah was reporting a one-day record of 1,198 new SARS-2 cases during its monthly meeting with journalists. He expressed concern that so many people are not taking the virus threat seriously. Yeah, man, I got friends going to Vegas. One of my friends, just from here, I'm in LA, as I said many times before. One of my friends just flew to New York because she is helping on subconsciously bringing back the New York strain to LA. So we'll see how that goes. He once again pleaded with people to follow the rules for their community to slow the spread of the virus. All of us have a role to play, he said in a remote press conference. We need to change our behaviors. We, in fact, control our own destiny. We have a serious problem, and it is not fictional. It's real, he said. We have people who are getting sick, and we have people who have died. Herbert worried about the record number of SARS-2 cases and the substantial surge in hospitalizations, which he said creates as much trouble for healthcare staffing as it does for the number of beds. The inconvenience and sacrifice will be temporary for most, he said, while those who get sick may have long-term impacts and may even die. Yeah, the chronic infection is getting more out there in the media. Lastly, sewer sludge detects SARS-2 outbreaks days faster than contact tracing, study finds. The recent Yale study finds wastewater testing gives up to an 8-day head start in curbing potential SARS-2 spread. The science of studying human fecal waste as a way of predicting a population's risk of viral spread, also known as wastewater epidemiology, has been successfully used by the global community in the fight against polio. Wastewater or sewage from households or buildings can harbor viruses like coronavirus, regardless of whether a person is symptomatic. When scientists extract human waste from municipal sewage systems, then analyze it for dead virus particles, they're given clear indication of the number of infected individuals in that area. In communities where test reporting is delayed, the researchers wrote, sludge results, if analyzed and reported on the same day as sampling, can provide substantial advance notice of infection dynamics. Oh yeah, so those sludge results, yeah. On Thursday, a Los Angeles Superior Court judge again ruled against LA County, delaying a decision on whether or not to find Grace Community Church, GCC, and senior pastor John MacArthur in contempt of court and declaring that the church will end the pastor deserve a trial in their lawsuit against Governor Newsom's and LA's SARS-2 restrictions preventing indoor church services. I mean, we're still debating the church thing. That's just pathetic at this point. Since, I've driven by the church by my house, and people are still having services outside in chairs, but many aren't even wearing masks, and they're sitting very close to each other. Since LA Superior Court will not hold civil trials until January 2021, this decision effectively allows GCC to keep holding church services until next year. College enrollment has declined during the pandemic, especially for international students in community colleges, a report finds. Well, who wants to go to school during a pandemic? I mean, it's all going online anyways, at least in the more reasonable places. California set a new national record on Thursday when it reported its 800,000 SARS-2 case since the start of the pandemic. So this is all stuff that I just dug about recently. So I missed out on, I did kind of keep up with a lot of it the past months. I don't have time to go back through all that. I'm sure people watching this are already aware. My 7-8 average viewers per video, but it's looking like it's gonna be a dark winter, a very, very dark winter, and we should reach 1 million deaths maybe on Monday. Either way, I have time to do this again, so I'm gonna be, probably daily, I suppose, maybe not. Anyhow, this is just like a small little catch up to what's going on. As I go more into it in the further days, I'll be able to get more technical about it and a little more in depth. It's kind of like a oh, I'm back video, I suppose. Well, thank you for watching, and tell everybody that I'm not dead yet.